Hello out there in YouTube, BoobTube world. It's Lindsay and
Hey, Adam.
Adam. Anybody there?
Oh,
We're gonna be pre-gaming for the Super
sorry
Bowl.
we're late. Lindsay lost her computer
My
again.
bad. I had a hard time. So we're good now, though, right, Adam?
I think
I'm
so.
okay.
I
Who's
think
watching Who's watching the Super Bowl besides Keith? Anybody else? There's one person here now.
I think Keith probably gave up.
Did he run away from us?
So I'm going to go with the Kansas City Swifts losing to the 49ers.
You think so?
I think so. I don't know. Just because I want to disprove all the conspiracy theories.
Oh, I heard something about a conspiracy theory today.
Yeah.
Don't care.
You know, it's Super Bowl 58, right? So, okay, you don't know. It's Super Bowl 58, I think. No, it can't be Super Bowl 58.
What's that mean?
What Super Bowl is this?
Keith, do you know?
Which Super Bowl?
Keith is rooting for he said 58, yes. He's rooting for Kansas City, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So 5 + 8 is 13, right?
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, 13. It's like her favorite number, name of one of her albums.
Okay.
I have an 8-year-old daughter. I have lots of Taylor Swift knowledge.
I don't. What do we want to talk about today? We can talk about anything. Keith, have any ideas? We wanted to bring up a few different things, though. Right?
Yeah, we talk about identity, reframing, especially the identity of being recovered. Maybe how to establish that.
Okay. What's that mean?
What does that mean? All right, so we can jump straight into it.
Sure.
So your identity is it's your guiding construct. It's who you are. So when I was drinking, I am. Let's see, what's the best way to say it? Thinking back on it, if I were to describe my identity back then, my identity, it would definitely be I am pathetic. I am sad. I am not happy with where I am in life because there was nothing else that I could identify with. It was not I am insert a profession or I am insert a familial title. It was just I am a miserable life, you know, and that obviously leads into drinking. But from a more of an emotional personality standpoint, you know, our emotions fuel that as well. So we talk about a lot of times affirmation statements. You know, I am a wonderful person. I am a gracious human being. Those are kind of surface level ideas of reprogramming an identity. But what I like to do and what I think is actually a pretty powerful technique is to figuring out exactly what you want in life. And I know I've talked about this a lot, but once you figure out what you want, then you can determine the type of person that has that. And if you can determine the kind of person, the type of person that has that, you can identify that identity and you can start to bring it in as your own identity.
Okay.
So embodying the identity of what you want to achieve is a shortcut to achieving it.
How do you know what you want to be like then?
Well, I think that's everybody's own journey of discovery there.
Yeah.
Like we can keep it really surface level. We adopt identities as we're growing up based off of our experiences and our parents what we're taught, to believe. Growing up, my identity was that of somebody who could pretty much do whatever they wanted. Let's see. I am a good student. I'm a good son, and I embodied those things as a kid. When you're said, "Hey, we want you to be this," you say, "Hey, okay, I'll become that."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
True.
and for me, it was, I'm a people pleaser, was at the time, and I wanted to do what I was told to do, which led to a whole a whole host of problems down the road. But I think you can do that as well for yourself once you realize that your identity doesn't fit what's going on. I think part of the actual recovery process is identifying what you want to do and then bringing your identity in line with that. Because if you're coming from trying to accomplish, a path over here, but your identity is on a path over here, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
If you bring them in line, then you can achieve what those wants are. So that's a very wordy explanation, but without really, I don't know. I mean, we get into the topics, but I'm not really sure exactly which way to go with it. So
yeah, me neither.
Ask me a question. Very reactive.
How did you know what you wanted? Did you just, like, for me, like, I knew I didn't want to drink and use anymore. I didn't want to get in trouble, but I didn't know necessarily what I could even be. I didn't know.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, how did you know what you wanted to be like?
So I stumbled into doing this around the time when I was trying to get sober. So I was using a breathalyzer every day and sneaking drinks, and was not sober by any means, but was earnestly wanted it and was trying, but couldn't quite make the connection. And I think it was a book. Who was it? Terry Crews. You know who Terry Crews is? The black dude, the actor. Is it America's Got Talent? He hosts that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Funny guy, wonderful. If you ever check out his Instagram stuff or read his books, just phenomenal human being. But he had this concept that he had learned in another book, a spiritual book or something, about we tend to have the process backwards, where we do things to become something in order to have something.
Yeah.
He said, well, if I want to have something, why don't I become the person that has those things? And then I'll work my way backwards, and it'll be easier to have those things.
Okay.
Poor explanation. So it kind of, it's like, instead of working, if I want to be a famous writer, famous writers write.
Right.
He said, what I'm going to do is start calling myself a writer. He said, I identified as a writer. I hadn't written a single book yet. He said, but I wanted to be a writer.
True.
So I became a writer. I identified as a writer. I started doing things that writers do.
Yeah.
And then I wrote the book. So I kind of took that, I hadn't really explored anything at that point. I was like, that's an interesting concept. I was like, I want to be a non-drinker. So I started saying, I'm a non-drinker. And I've posted this on X a few times. My phone to this day, it's been going for 5 years now. At 9 o'clock every morning, it says, what would a non-drinker do? I get a reminder every morning.
Cool.
I never have turned it off, but I eventually started trying to identify as a non-drinker. I was like, okay, how would a non-drinker handle this scenario? What would a non-drinker do here?
I love that.
Yeah. And so it kind of started reprogramming my identity from being an alcoholic who's trying to get sober to a non-drinker, which allowed the sobriety to kind of fall in line much easier.
Cool.
So that's kind of that's what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, no, okay. So I love that. So then I can totally dig that. What about, so when you would think in the morning, like, what would stuff happen in your day and you're like, okay, what would a non-drinker do? Did it have,
Yeah,
like, your motto going on all the time in
that
your head?
it did every now and then. I hadn't gotten quite to the point of discovering the underlying beliefs like I talked about in the past.
Okay.
This was more of a surface level. Hey, what would a non-drinker do? It's kind of like when you're saying, when you get a kid who wants to be a basketball player, and all of a sudden they start, they're wearing basketball shorts and
Yeah.
tank tops and big shoes, and like you pass them a basketball, and they're like, "What was that thing?" You're like, "Oh, okay, poser, huh? You're a poser. I got you." I was posing as a sober person, but I didn't really want to have to do all the things that what I thought sobriety required, and so I
Ooh.
just wanted to be a non-drinker. I just want to be like, yeah, you know what? Because I had friends, like I grew up with friends to this day, and even I've talked about being in the marching band, and that's where I learned to drink. There were
Yeah.
people in the band who were like, no, I don't drink. They had just as much fun as we did.
Cool.
And so I was like, okay, I'll just be a non-drinker. And so it was very surface level. But yeah, it'd pop up every day at 9 o'clock. I'd see it every now and then. I would think, it reminded me of the bracelets when I was growing up. What would Jesus do? The WWJD. So it's kind of the same thing. And then, yeah, eventually, I think it did flavor my thoughts and flavor my beliefs and kind of get me aligned, and it got me ready for the work of finding those underlying beliefs.
Cool. So, okay. So then that brings me into, what did you think you had to do in sobriety? Like what was your idea or your understanding of in the beginning before you figured out your path?
So, I mean, I was going to AA, and the
Okay.
people that I saw in AA, I mean, it was very much the people I saw in AA that were the old timers
Hmm.
were at every meeting, you know,
Super involved kind of thing?
not necessarily super involved, but it was almost like a hierarchical structure of everybody deferring to them. And it's not that I have a problem with authority or anything like that, or hierarchical structures where there's somebody that's like obviously got more wisdom and knowledge. It
Right.
was the message that they preached of come to the meetings, arrive early, stay late, make this your community group. And I don't care how many times you tell me to focus on the commonalities and not the things that are different about us. Our brains don't work that way.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
We try a lot. And I think most people do a good job of that in society in general. But
Mhm.
when it starts coming to something like sobriety, when you have people from two polar opposite backgrounds, both trying to get sober, about the only thing that you can identify with are the cravings and doing a stupid activity in order to get your alcohol. The
Right.
stupid activities are miles apart because you come from completely different perspectives and points
Right.
of view. So I couldn't one share
Mhm.
because the times I did share, people kind of looked at me like, what's this new kid doing? Two, I didn't relate to the messages that anybody else was saying. And three, for some reason, I don't know if I never found a good meeting, but I always left meetings feeling worse than when I went. And that's not what I wanted for sobriety.
Right. Right.
So I was like, okay, if this is what it takes to stay sober and I have to do this the rest of my life, why would I want to take an hour and a half out of my day every day or 3 times a week to go and feel like shit and then have to work myself back out of feeling like shit at the end of the meeting?
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's just, I didn't want that.
Right, right. So
And so
then
I was constantly looking for other ways. So, I was stumbling around with other, self-help stuff and just kind of, I don't know. I've just found that one Terry Crews interview and it's like, okay, try this. I think it was Tim Ferriss who was interviewing him.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
it was really good. Really good.
Cool. Lonnie said, "I so get that."
I'm glad, Lonnie. That's the thing. So I think there's more people that identify with what I say when I say it like that than there are people who identify from the other side of the coin.
Me too. Yeah. It's just that it becomes so
Yeah.
taboo to say stuff, but really it's not. Like, says who? Says who says it's just because a couple loud people say that. What did he say? I was cool and collected on the outside. I was a shaky individual on the inside. I had no idea who I was. I wanted my insides to match my outsides. I want to identify as a doctor of recovery. Yeah, that.
Nice.
Yeah, that.
Totally do it,
That's
man. You
cool.
can totally do it. So yeah, I mean, as far as when I started learning more about identity and identity shifting, which sounds very to me kind of sci-fi, like shifting your identity. Like, I know we're not talking CIA stuff. It's who you want the world. The way I first looked at it was how I want the world to perceive me. So you remember the movie? You remember The Matrix? Did you see that?
I love it.
So you got that. When they first jack Neo back in and he's in that white room and he doesn't look anything like Neo that got jacked back in. He's got his hair back and he's in a black trench coat and shades and he looks just cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Morpheus is like, this is, he used whatever word he goes, this is how you perceive everyone else perceiving you.
What? I don't remember that.
This is your physical manifestation of how you want everyone to see you.
Bro. I'll tell you after.
We should do a whole nother show on The Matrix. And
I did a video on it.
Did you?
We can talk about it right now, but I get so into that because I feel like recovery and addiction's like The Matrix.
So I wrote something back about a year ago. My entire recovery you could map onto the movie The Matrix, I think.
Really?
But anyway, I used that. That was my first stepping stone. Was I want people to perceive me as a laid back guy who is knowledgeable, because I have a lot of knowledge about a whole bunch of shit, who maybe overcame some adversity. They don't necessarily know what it is. And I call myself like, if I could like draw myself as a little avatar character, it would be like a surf bum philosopher. And
you are.
I know, that's the funniest thing, but this was a thought I had like 7 years ago.
That's tight. Oh my God.
And so, I didn't really think about that until maybe, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago. I was like, damn, this shit's coming true.
Oh my God.
But then, so how you want other people to perceive you will start to influence your thoughts. Because if that's something you want, I don't want to be perceived as a guy who goes to AA, who has to call a sponsor, or does call a sponsor, or, and it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just not what I wanted.
Right.
And, we could have a whole other conversation about shame and stigma and all that stuff. And no matter how much people want to say that, oh, we got to get rid of the stigma, or I'm not ashamed. I don't care if you are or not.
Right. We should talk about that.
It's still out there, and I didn't want to be associated with it. So I didn't want that for my recovery. And so, yeah.
We should talk more about that. But, okay. So where do you want to go with this?
Well,
you want to talk about shame and stigma?
You can. That's a slippery. That one can get slippery quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably keep going with the identity if you want.
Yeah. Well,
all right. So then I think, so the first step, if it's something you're interested in doing, is identifying what you want. So that's part of the reason why I'm always saying most people don't know what they want. They know what they don't want, which you can't build a life around what you don't want. I can't go build a house around, what I don't want the house to look like.
Right.
It's like if I start building a house, I better damn sure know what it's going to look like. I can't say, well, it's not going to be that, and it's not going to be that, and it's not going to have this, and it's not going to have that. You have to know what it's going to have.
Okay. Identify what you want.
Yeah, what you want.
This is for any change.
It really is. This is nothing sobriety specific. This is psychology. This is just human behavioral constructs 101.
I have it written down over here, actually, that I was using it from our boy. What do you really want? What do you really want? Why is it a must, not a should? Right? Like, this is, it's not what I don't want. That kind of tripped me up for a while, because when I think about it in the context of, I don't want to be a drug addict. I don't want to be an alcoholic. I don't want to be a bum. I don't, you know what I mean? It's like, well, what do you want?
That's good. You have to know your criteria.
Right.
You know, you have to go, that's unacceptable. I don't want that.
Right.
The thing is, you can't build off of that.
You need more.
That's the starting point. You know, that's you sitting at the red light. You know you can't go. But until you get green light, you can't go.
Right.
Yeah. So
so what do you want, and why do you want it?
Yeah. And then step 2 would be identifying the type of person, the kind of person, identifying who has what you want.
Identifying your ideal.
What's that?
So it'd be like identifying your ideal identity, you think?
Well, maybe. I mean, just who the person is, and not like a named person, just the type of person who has what you want. And I mean, to keep it simple, I would just make it about one specific thing right now. You know,
like a quality or character.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the guy who works at 7-Eleven is not the kind of person who's going to be driving a Ferrari.
True. Okay.
You know? So kind of like that. You got to identify who the person is who has the quality or the trait that you want.
Okay, got you.
Okay, and then you have to identify what the qualities and traits are. So let me take that back. Identify
with it.
What's that?
No,
identify
go ahead.
Identify who has it, and then figure out what you have to do to become that kind of person. So for me, it was, if I want to be sober, right? I want what I call effortless recovery. Like I am just effortless. I'm recovered. That's it. So the kind of person that has that is basically someone who just doesn't drink, right?
Right.
And so the kind of person that just doesn't drink knows that they don't drink.
Mm-hmm.
They understand why they don't drink. They have a reason.
Right.
They're comfortable being around people who do drink. They have no problem going to a bar. They have no problem going to a concert. If somebody asks them if they want to drink, they're comfortable saying no without feeling like they need to give an explanation. You know, and you could take it further and say they're emotionally mature. They have a higher emotional quotient.
Ooh, yeah.
They understand what their boundaries are, kind of what trips them up and makes them angry and upset, what makes them happy. And then you start to work on becoming those qualities. So, I mean, that's really it. That's identity shifting in a very simplified nutshell. I mean, I shouldn't even say simplified, because that's really all there is to it, without sitting down and taking somebody step by step and writing it down. It's just identify what you want, identify the kind of person that has that. What are the traits and qualities of this person? Okay, now let's figure out how to move you into those traits and qualities.
I'm trying to think of, there were many people that, or I guess, what did you say, an avatar of a person? Like, maybe not people that I knew, but like an avatar of a person that I wanted to emulate, I guess, right? And I wanted that to be my new identity that I would strive for. So I'm trying to think of, like, I remember I always wanted to like be an author. Like, I have this like thing in my head of like a recovery, self-help, like Tony Robbins kind of dude, like with authentic qualities and like a big heart, stuff like that.
Hey, Scott. We got Darth Vader on here too. I love that.
Oh yeah, he's cool. Luke's father. Yeah. This has got me thinking, man. This is good because
Yeah.
I think that this is something that we need to probably constantly do, or I should speak for myself that I need to constantly do because it shifts all the time, right? Like my
Well,
ideal.
I think when you're not 100% sure if you're on the right track, yeah,
Okay.
constantly think about it. So in high school, I mean, when you first start becoming an adult, you know, you're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. You know, in high school, I was just, I don't know, I was just the high school dude who was a band geek, played some sports, you know, I was friends with everybody, high achiever, nothing super extraordinary that I can pick out of. But then I got to the Air Force Academy, and once you're there, it's a whole new environment. So you have to find
Mm.
your new identity because now you're in a group of 4,000 kids who are playing military, who are being treated as military, but are still 18, 19, 20, 21.
Mm.
So they still don't really know what the hell they're doing as far as living life.
Right.
Then you've got all these different identities within that community. You've got, you know, your perfect cadets who are straight A students getting perfect scores on all their fitness tests, perfect scores on all their military decorum, blah, blah, blah. You know, then you got kind of the shitbag cadets who are just doing the bare minimum to get by because what's the point? You know, because at the end of the day, if you graduate, the guy graduating first and the guy graduating in last place are both saluted and called second lieutenant. So why? It's probably in that bottom 2/3. It's like, I don't want to quite be a shitbag cadet, but I'm not putting in the effort to do that because there's not really any benefit.
That's how I live my life sometimes.
So we call them ghosts. It's like, I don't want you to know my name. I want you to have to look at my name tag if you need to know my name because I don't want you to recognize my face. You know, I'm just going to be a ghost cadet. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to do it well enough to stay out of trouble, but not so well that everybody knows who I am. Right?
Kind of how I am at work.
Yeah. So then I get to UGA and I'm in the marching band. Well, that's an identity on itself. And part of the identity that I joined was partiers. And
Partier.
so we drank a lot. That's where I started drinking. And then after my college career and on into married life and some failed businesses and stuff, you know, I lost my sense of identity. I didn't really have one. Other than what we started off talking about with I have a pathetic life. I'm not happy with anything. And so it's different, in my opinion, of the AA irritable, restless, and discontent. You know, it's more of a spiritual unease. It's the what am I doing here? Everything fucking sucks, but I don't really know what to do. And so then when I finally started getting sober, I started learning a little bit about the self-help and the psychology and then the identity stuff. And it all kind of snowballed from there. And I kind of had established this identity and it's just who I am now.
Interesting. Good. That's absolutely perfect. I really speak. Yeah, I totally get that. No, but I mean, it's not
Yeah.
pathetic. But
Yeah. It's not pathetic. It's survival.
yeah.
And you know, I didn't really put this together until just now. It's survival at the academy. We talk about trauma all the time. And I came back from the Air Force Academy a completely different person. And the mental job that's done on you out there, not to bag military academies because that's wonderful institutions, but
Right.
the person that left as an 18-year-old dude and came back as a 20-year-old dude was completely worlds apart
I bet.
from who it was. So being a ghost sometimes is not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you recognize it because it's survival.
Yeah. I don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's just different. So like for me, different in different areas, different identities of mine, I'm different kind of visibility, I guess you could say. Like my recovery and kind of this is completely different than like at work. I don't want to stick out. I don't want to I don't want to kiss ass and like look like that. I just want to be chill. I just want to like do my job. I don't want to, make waves and have like I don't want to like make friends. Like I just want to like I just keep it smooth.
Yeah.
What else? And then I'm just about my family.
Mhm.
Like I don't really have many friends that I sounds sad, but it's
I mean, I don't necessarily have a large group of friends. I've got a
no.
couple, three really tight guys, and I have a lot of really good acquaintances.
Yeah, that's kind of no, that's
You
what I
know?
am too. Yeah. And well, like Fran, for instance, she has become like one of my best friends. And like I met her at work. Jason, I met him at work, like in AA freaking 12 years ago. We're still best friends. So it's like, yeah, it's like, but when you're older, like we are now, it's like we don't have time to go running around and hanging out every second. So it's like those are how our friendships are now. And that's cool, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like chill mode. So yeah, I mean, I think like my identity has shifted over the years depending upon like it needs to shift based on what goals I'd accomplish, and then I kind of discover more about myself and well maybe I want to go more in that kind of direction and tweak it a little bit cuz
So,
now oh no, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, so when you don't have a defined want,
Mhm.
that's kind of what happens. Is
Yeah.
you just try a whole bunch of different things, and I think a lot of people go through life that way until they find what they like.
Yeah, I think that's how as soon as I got sober though, it was like I knew what I wanted to do and I knew, okay, this is my
Yeah,
path right here, but then it was like I have to find out specifically what branch I want to be on, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of
right.
like refining it now and I'm getting even more down to what it is. And plus, in in my life using drugs and alcohol, I didn't think about what I wanted to be in life necessarily. It was survival and use drugs. And then
Right.
my identity then became whether I liked it or not, but I did embrace that identity because it hurt more to be this girl that is not brought up that way, good parents, good kid, and
Yeah,
oh,
but
but
you,
I'm doing
you
that.
just said it. So I I embrace this identity. It's not really whether I really wanted it or
Right.
not. You can't help but when you latch onto an identity, you can't help but allow that. I mean, that identity is the guiding
Yeah,
path for your decisions. And
right.
so that's why I say if you don't know what you want and you settle for one, because I kind of like this one, it's
Yeah,
going to drive you down a certain path because that's who you are, which
motherfucker,
may not necessarily be the direction to where you want.
bro.
Right?
But exactly what we were talking about earlier.
That's exactly right.
Because that was like my identity and like whether or not Jesus Christ. And ah, malfunction over here. I just discovered something amazing. Very helpful.
Good. I'm glad.
Um well yeah, so that depends on the person. Red River, you just blew my mind. The people we're around, right? The
Yeah.
relationships we're in, the sobriety addiction, obviously that's a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
What else? The
So
navigation.
you can take that right there and you can tie that into what I keep saying about AA has hit on the surface level of a couple different topics.
Right.
And for a small handful of people, it works great. But they don't really know why. And that's one of them because the people, places, and things and the constant the
Identity of it.
meanings, the constant repetition of the steps. If your path, like if what you want ends up aligning with that path, it's great.
Yeah, man.
But
That
what you
became my
want,
identity.
that's right. That's right.
Motherfucker.
That's
I
right.
mean, obviously I knew that, but like just talking about it right now,
Yep.
it's so much easier to see like right black and white, like right in front of me. to see, well, I was excited to be a non-drug user, non-drinker, to
Mhm.
where when I went to treatment and I went to AA and NA, and I liked feeling free without drugs or alcohol, and then I liked getting a community of like-minded individuals,
Yeah.
and then I liked being recognized and praised.
Right.
Like, let's be real. I liked being able to work towards something that people could, could just, I wanted to be like that.
Yeah.
That fit in for me perfectly because of the, damn, I never realized that.
Yeah.
I wanted to
And
be
so
praised.
you could take that, and I'm just sitting here thinking about this because you were kind of describing the pink cloud a little bit, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
everything
I had that.
awesome. I've got this great group of support, and life's doing really well because I'm out of the fog of the drugs and the alcohol. And then maybe what the pink cloud is you sitting here going,
Yep.
I want to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
The drugs and alcohol are still behind me. I'm not going back to them, but I want to go that way. But my identity's that way right now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's what the pink cloud is. It's the discontent and the recognition of the paths splitting apart.
Damn. I think that you're correct because it's like congruency, right? Like it's congruency of this is what I'm doing right now. Like I
Mhm.
want to be sober.
Yeah.
I found this right here, this identity. I'm going
Mhm.
to adopt this identity. So then my thoughts, feelings, actions, behaviors all align
Yeah.
with speech, and that's congruency. And so then it feels right. And you're like, yeah, more of this, more of this.
And then now here's the fun part.
Hmm.
So being sober is not your identity.
No,
No.
I thought it was.
Being sober is just the guardrails on the path,
Mm-hmm.
or it's the foundation you're going to build the house on.
Yeah.
I've used that one a lot too. Is we constantly focus on building the foundation and we never start building the house.
Ooh, talk more about that. I like that.
Well, I
Like
mean, it's the
in relation to sobriety.
well, to me, the AA method is constantly hammering out, building a foundation, building. You're constantly focused on the foundation of being sober, and we got to do work to keep you sober and do sober.
Like constantly, right? Is what you're saying?
Sober's, yeah. It's like everything's about sobriety. It never
Yeah.
shifts. I've never been in a single meeting, read a single piece of AA literature, listened to anything that's AA based that talks about building past AA. It's always about getting further into AA and doing more service work to keep your sobriety. And it's all about that external stuff that you have to do to maintain your sobriety. And what I'm telling you is if you
Oh my
make your
God.
identity if you make sobriety part of your identity, you don't have to do all of that stuff. It's just who you are.
Damn.
And so you have the foundation and you can start building your house, or you have, the guardrail to keep you from going off the mountain because you chose a path that might be risky. It might require a lot of stress because you're going to go build something really fucking cool, like an amazing company.
Yeah.
That's going to be stressful. But if you're sober and you've got the guardrail right there, you're not going to fall off.
See you, Red Rover. Wait, Luke's father, what the service is kind of, say that again, that service is kind of, service, what does that mean?
Service work, maybe?
Oh. This is amazing. Although I'm sober, I have other issues that directly relate to this, leaving a cult. It's hard to find your identity afterwards. You have a choice.
Yeah.
I could definitely help. I know a lot about that.
Yeah, you might want to just shoot Lindsay DM at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, because oh my God, I mean, Jesus, God bless you.
That's all. I mean, the cult, the whole point of we could easily brainwash people. I mean, the science behind it is very, very simple.
Yes, it is.
And honestly, the science behind changing your identity is the same stuff. It's just not used for evil purposes.
Right. It's not used for like against someone, someone else, right?
So I talk a lot about reprogramming the brain, and that's kind of like the next step after you kind of start adjusting your identity, is reprogramming your beliefs and your thoughts, which is the exact same thing that the military does, that cults do. That, I mean, it's
Bro.
repetition of certain ideas and ideologies, and you know, it's
I
there. So what people don't believe me when I tell them that I'm effortlessly sober. They're like, no, you have to do stuff. I'm
me
like,
too.
no, I don't. I
You
don't.
do stuff though. It's just
I
not what
do.
everybody
I
else
kinda,
says.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
It's not
different.
really stuff. But I think I really believe that if I just shut X down and didn't do this anymore, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
No.
Because my
No.
life, my identity is built around my sobriety. It's like the foundation. And then I'm out doing other things.
Yeah.
And then I've reprogrammed my thoughts by reprogramming my subconscious. You know how earlier I was telling you about the subconscious gives you the thoughts, and then your prefrontal cortex is the CEO deciding whether or not to act on them.
Yeah.
If you think about your subconscious as, you know, all the worker bees, you know, all the analysts and the planners and the engineers and stuff, and they draw up a plan and then they send it up to Bezos for approval. Bezos says yes or no.
Right, right.
So Bezos doesn't do all the research. He doesn't do all the analyzing. He just looks at, is this going to benefit me or is this going to harm me? And basically gives it a yes or no. Well, you can sit here and we can talk about behavior change all day long and how we know that we need to make better decisions.
Yeah.
But until the people making the plans and on doing all the analysis send up better plans for a decision,
Yep.
you're going to make bad decisions. So when you go through and you change the limiting belief, that is changing how you think about things and how you have thoughts, then you get better thoughts. And so that's why I tell people, it's like, you don't have to have stinking thinking. You know, you don't have to go to a meeting because you've been having thoughts. Thoughts just happen.
Thank you. Oh my God. No. We have to emphasize this right now. The stinking thinking or first thought wrong shit. What do you think about that?
Hate it.
Yeah, me too. So you're always going to be first thought wrong the rest of your life, even after 20? That's sketchy, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I put something on X a couple days ago, which stirred the pot quite well.
Like this? Stirred it up?
I stirred it big time. I got my big paddle out.
Oh, shit.
I even popped some popcorn. So
what kind?
Kettle? Extra butter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But what it was, what if I told you that science had developed a cure for sobriety or something like that? Dude, flipped their shit.
I missed that.
Oh, you missed it?
I'm really upset about that. I'm gonna have to look.
But here's what most people don't realize is that when I say there is a cure for your alcoholism, they immediately think I'm saying there is a cure that will allow you to drink as a normal person.
Right.
And that's not what I'm saying.
Wait, what did you say? You said
there's a cure for your alcoholism.
Wait, before that. For your alcoholism?
Yeah.
What is that anyways? What is your alcohol? What is someone's alcohol? Like when someone says I'm an like my alcoholism or whatever, like what does that mean?
Well, I mean it in
I know what you mean, like in terms of what they mean, but I mean,
oh, well, yeah.
What do they really mean? I had to just bring that up.
Well, I think so. Where I get all the pushback is from the AA community, from the diehards, and they always take it immediately to either, oh, no pill's gonna fix your spiritual malady.
No one said that. Yeah,
I'm like, that's my point exactly. And then the next thing is, well, you think that you found a way to drink like a normal person? It's like, I didn't say that either. I said there's a way out.
Sorry.
So there's a way out of needing something external to make yourself feel better.
There definitely is.
Fix the things that make you feel bad.
I feel like you're supposed to do that. I feel like it's not even controversial,
right?
It shouldn't.
I mean, we do it for every other disease. We try to fix the problem of every other disease.
It's kind of scary though. Like when I learned or heard or whatever the frick And everybody's like, well, the message I got was like, you got to continue to do this, right? Like we were just talking about, you got to continue to do this just like this the rest of your life because your brain is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like that message though, like seriously kind of was really hard for me. Like I think I told you before how in the situation we were talking about today, with the person, there was a time to where I'm like, I'm the one in recovery, right? I'm the dumb addict. Like this is what I thought. And I'm like, I'm the addict. He's normal. He's better than me.
Right.
And I'm dead ass serious. So like because I thought of myself as like I'm an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. Years and years and years of like I'm an alcoholic. Like I can't trust myself. I am not the same as other people. I'm not normal. And it's not my brain doesn't hear the full context. Like the unconscious or the subconscious doesn't
Yeah.
hear that. It just
Yeah.
hears you're not normal. You got a thinking problem. You're
Exactly.
broken. And so I believed the whole time that like I'm in this separate subhuman category,
Yeah.
dead ass. And like that's been really hard to break. Kind
Yeah.
of like cult programming, right? Like that's
Uh-huh.
how they do it, right? Repetition over and over. I'm not saying that
Exactly.
that's a cult. I'm saying because he brought that up, Lonnie did. But
I got into an argument with somebody about that over the
what?
definition of how cults work and everything. So you
Oh,
tell me,
don't even.
I won't tell the whole story, but
No, but I can just imagine because I've heard it's just
yeah,
crazy. But
AA doesn't have the same intent as cults, so that's the
right,
difference.
right, right. Which even if it were though, like I don't know if even in if the definition of a cult does it have imprinted in it that it's bad or dangerous in the
I don't know.
definition. You know what I mean? So like
Maybe.
it could just be a benign thing. I don't know. You know what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. So, but I forgot what I was thinking about. Oh, so man, so like I didn't know though that that's what that was. I was just like this person is normal and I'm not. And that
Yeah.
person was not normal. And that's another reason I've been getting away from saying normal and normie. I literally was saying normie and I'm like that is like
We're either all
stupid.
normal or no one's normal.
Yeah, I don't even like the word anymore now. Like I've just now that I think about it deeper and deeper, and then now it's kind of, I mean, and all this stuff me and you and Scott have been talking about over and over and over, it has made my mind open up even further, and I think that that's necessary for ongoing sobriety recovery. And what we were talking about earlier is like only in the past 6 months have I been hardcore um getting into the underlying thing because I was in enough pain to where it's necessary to where
Yeah.
okay, we got to look at this, Lindsay, we got to look at feelings.
Yeah.
And then I'm starting to dissect the beliefs I knew that were there.
Yeah.
There's tons I did not know that were
Yeah.
there, right?
So that leads me to one of my favorite quotes is from Orson Scott Card,
Uh-huh.
who wrote the book Ender's Game, which was a movie 5 or 6 years ago. The book
Mhm.
is a million times better, but anyway, it's the quote is, "We question all of our beliefs except those which we hold most dear, and those we never think to question."
Bro,
I know.
bro.
So that's why I'm always like, question your beliefs, question them often. Why do I believe this? And thanks, Lonnie.
Hit us up, Lonnie, on the X. Talk to you
Um,
soon.
yeah, question all of them because are your beliefs leading you to where you want to go? Because if they're not, then you need to explore them and understand why you believe that. And is it truly something you believe, like you actually believe, or is it something that you were told you should believe?
Well. This is just my cup of tea here because I never get to talk about this because it's so fucking, excuse my language. It's so bold to even bring up something like that this day and age, to even bring up the possibility. And so I've noticed, okay, the past 4 years now almost. Um it's been a kind of a hot topic, right? Of like, well, he said it, trust the science, right?
Right.
Stuff like that. I mean, and politics, got emerged with that, and then it's like all just knotted up, and it's like, what is real anymore? Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I thought stuff. Well, okay, so in those books we were reading too about AA and stuff, right? So should we tell the people about the books?
Sure.
US of AA, I forget who that's by, and then The
Nation.
Sober Truth by Lance Dodds. Those are 2 books that if you'd like to learn more about the history and different things and to make your mind kind of
I think Darth would like those.
Yeah, he would like it because well, I don't like the hive mind. I don't like I'm just in general of anything, and I never realized it until the past couple of years to where it's like is scary because it was too much collectivism and not enough individualism and
with COVID. Yeah.
It's scary. And it wasn't even just that. It started infiltrating into everything. And so that's kind of like where I started questioning this stuff.
Question your beliefs often.
Yeah. Because I know. I mean, everything, like the world is like cults, like programming, right?
Yeah.
Like depending on.
Yeah.
Let me put it.
You said something a few minutes ago that I wanted to go back to because it's part of the identity, like defining and becoming the identity that you need to, and the reprogramming your mind is kind of like affirmations. When we say I am not or I don't want, your brain, your subconscious does not recognize negatives. It doesn't recognize the not. It only recognizes the subject of your statement.
So this is why nothing's working lately for me. Yeah.
So when you're saying I don't want to drink, which is what a lot of people say in the beginning in sobriety, I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink that again. And they end up drinking.
Yeah.
They're literally from a spiritual, esoteric, a scientific, a psychological perspective, they are telling their body, their soul, their brain to fixate on alcohol. Bro. And so we'll just go with the one that we can prove, which is the psychological and how the brain works. So when you say, I don't want to drink, the brain only hears drink. The brain knows drink, alcohol. And so you prime that reticular activating system to see alcohol. Think about alcohol. And it's like, all right, alcohol. Hey, that's on our task list.
God damn it.
All right.
So true.
I don't want whatever. You're going to think about what you want.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If you want to take it from a more spiritual, esoteric standpoint, and you believe that what you seek in the universe is seeking you by thinking about the things you don't want, you're putting energy out into the universe for that thing.
Bro, so true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why thoughts are really important. Minding your thoughts. That's why I talk about mindfulness all the time.
Yeah, man.
So instead of thinking about the things you don't want, and that's one reason why I say most people only know what they don't want. And so they think about the things they don't want. And what do they have a lot of? The things they don't want. If you define what you want and you make that your focus, your intent, give your attention there, you'll place your energy there, and you'll work towards them. Right. And if you believe the mystical, esoteric side of it, that, you know, the universe helps you out, the universe will help you out too.
I believe it. Yeah. And so, yeah, I need to hear that.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of goes, we've been talking about it in another aspect too, of like, I don't want to talk about like, oh, let's just, here's how to not drink. Here's how to not relapse. Here's how to not do that. And it's because like, we're talking about it all the time.
Yeah.
That's all we're focused on. It's like, what are you going to do then?
Yeah. I mean, it's good information for people who are newly sober and fighting it. You know, you need some tactics and strategies.
Oh, yeah. But to be the only thing all the time, it's got to be like, here's how to have a fulfilling life, right?
Yeah.
Here's what you do.
So now you see what I'm talking about when I say that I feel like, what was it? I made the statement and then you made it a couple of nights later about the steps and meetings and AA is kind of like a Band-Aid. It's because we keep focusing on the problem. And so we keep manifesting the same problem. So we have to keep applying the same solution.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's just so wild how, like, looking at how all that works,
Yeah. Like I'll continue to say it. I'm not bashing
no
by any means, but I believe that there is a better way that's going to eventually lead you to long-term recovered, not recovery. You're not going to continuously be in the process.
Shouldn't we do that though in all aspects of our lives? Shouldn't we always be wanting to build something or fix something?
Yeah.
That would be the norm, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could argue that as well. I'm just saying
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, from an alcohol standpoint, I think you can get to a recovered, like, I'm done.
Me too.
As long as I don't put it back in, then we got to obviously we mess something else. Let's get back to working on. But
that's what I'm saying by saying I think there's a better way, and something that you found is not attacking anything. It's you are saying, shouldn't we always be trying to better whatever system it is, or assessing
down the road, if I stumble across something that completely contradicts everything I've just said tonight, and I go, damn, that's probably even better. I'd start talking about that. The only problem is I won't have used that to get sober.
Dude, I just thought of something. Okay. You know how, bro, this is so simple, but you know how people get into it so much with politics, religion, AA, because it becomes their identity, and they feel like you're attacking their identity.
Exactly.
You're attacking the thing. And it's like, no, I'm talking about something that's separate from you. What do you talk? But that just popped in my head. You cannot criticize. I mean, that's why people get so wild.
Why they get so offended, because they see it as attacking them, because AA is their identity.
Right. Well, same with politics right now. People you cannot present something. It's the same exact thing. You can't present. It's like cognitive dissonance. You present something in front of them, there's no going there.
Yep. Same thing. I mean, yeah, religion, same thing.
Yeah. It's kind of fucking scary, isn't it?
Teams.
Cult? Huh? What'd you say?
Sports teams, 49ers and the Swifties.
Well, I don't know about all that. What did Luke's father said? I went to A when I stopped drinking after observing and participating for about a year. I realized the pattern, same problems, different faces, same old solutions, rinse and repeat. Good point. Every single fucking one.
And like I said, it works for a lot of people. I know a lot of people who went to AA, got what they needed, have stopped going, and are still sober. So
that's what I did.
And so my theory is the people that it really works for, you don't see them in the meetings anymore.
No, I think
my lawyer, my attorney for my divorce, on the second day I met him, when he said, yeah, man, I'm an alcoholic. I've been sober for 13 years. It's like, what meeting do you go to? He's like, I don't go to meetings anymore. They don't really serve me.
A lot of people say that.
So I really been thinking about that a lot since I told that story a couple nights ago. I was like, I bet the people that AA works for are the people that end up not going back, and that all the people that AA they have to fight to stay sober think all these people quit because now they're they think they're out drinking again. Or maybe, and I'm sure a good majority of them are, but there are some out there that were just like, yeah, I'm good now.
Well, I stayed in it because I was fearful because of what people were telling me. You can't exist outside of this. You're not going to make it. You're going to relapse. You need this. You're going to relapse, and don't trust yourself. And that's kind of what cults do.
Yep.
Don't trust your thinking. So, who's watching the Super Bowl again? Everybody watching the Super Bowl?
I was about to say it's about time to go turn it on.
Are you gonna watch it?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I gotta see all the commercials.
Oh, 6:20. It's coming on 6:30.
Yep.
All right, we better pack it up.
We gotta go see if Keith's prediction. What did he say? Keith said 67-0 or 79-0.
I don't know, man.
I think I'd put money against him on that one. So.
Yeah. Well, if you guys still want to party, hit us up on X, message us or something. We'll get a chat going, something to help stay sober during the game. No, the Steelers aren't in it. You funny.
It's not as bad as the Falcons. So.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for coming by.
Yeah, welcome. Nice
make sure you subscribe to both of our YouTubies so that you will get notified every time that we go live so that you're reminded. And we greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
And like and comment.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, do it. Yep, there they are.
I didn't even have to do it. Oh, my hair. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you for the chat. And we'll talk soon. Tomorrow. Yes.